Hi guys, it's me. I'm gonna be telling the whole summary of the World War II. So World War II was the biggest and the deadliest war in history, involving more than 30 countries. Sparked by 1939 Nazi invasion of Poland, the war dragged on for 6 years until the Allies were defeated on the Axis powers of Nazis, Germany, Japan, and Italy in 1945. Explore the battles, leaders, and atrocities. Atrocities from the war and its impact on the geopolitics of humankind. With Adolf Hitler leading a German invasion of Poland in 1939, World War II was launched on a deadly global conflict waged across Europe and the Pacific until the 1945. Bloody battles raged between the Allied powers including Britain, France, and the Soviet Union and the United States, along with other nations and Axis, notably Germany and Japan. Germany and Japan. When the Axis ultimately surrendered, where some 20 million soldiers were dead, along with some esteemed 40 million civilians. Below is a timeline of the war's most significant battles. World War II longest continuous campaign takes place with the Allies striking a naval blockade against Germany and igniting a struggle for control of the Atlantic Ocean sea routes. The Axis and with its U-boats response with a counter blockade that is at first successful, but the Allies' use of conveys aircraft and technology eventually turns the tide. Over 5 years, thousands of ships engage in 100 plus battles in the Atlantic Ocean with approximately 100,000 lives lost. A German invasion around the French coastal town of Dunkirk separates the French and the British armies, marooning the Allied forces. But with Adolf Hitler halting Germany's advance there, the Allies are able to perform a daring and successful evacuation called Operation Dynamo. Germany claims victory with remaining Allied troops surrendering, but the evacuation serves to boost British morale, still referred to as the Dunkirk spirit. So, this is the end. Now, the Battle of Britain, July 10th to October 31st, 1940. After a nearly 4-month air campaign waged over England, Britain Royal Air Force and Navy respond to heavy bombing attacks from Germany Luftwaffe Air Force, including the Blitz, in an attempt to destroy RAF before invading. The defense system, including radar and Hitler's decision to bomb London rather than military bases, allow Britain to regroup and eventually win the battle. Battle of Crete, May 20 to June 1st, 1941. Nazi paratroopers invade the Greek island of Crete, which making history's first mostly airborne attack. Day 1 of the campaign results in heavy losses for the Germans, but a sea assault Allied forces soon withdraw and evacuate with defeat. Nearly 4,000 Allies and 3,000 Germans were killed, which means 7,000. However, Hitler declares the day of the parachutist is over, and it is the country's last airborne campaign. Now, the Siege of Leningrad, September 8 to 1941 to January 27, 1944. The siege, then the Finnish soldiers began nearly 900 days siege and the blockade of Leningrad, now at Petersburg. not St. Petersburg, center of industry with supplies of water, electricity, and transport cut off. 1.3 million people are evacuated as the Red Army finally begins to break through the blockade. The siege ends and the city is freed, but approximately 800,000 civilians die from almost from hunger. Battle of Moscow, October 2nd to 1941 to January 7th, 1942. Following Germany's Operation Barbarossa, an invasion of the Soviet Union, Axis launches a campaign to capture the capital Moscow before the winter sets in. In preparation, the Soviets fortify the city and bring in reinforcements. After a series of gains and losses on both sides during a harsh weather, the Germans are eventually beaten back and forced to retreat. In a surprise wave of attacks on the US naval battle, Oahu Island, Hawaii's Pearl Harbor, Japan aligned with the Axis takes out America's Pacific Fleet. The Fleet 3 aircraft carriers are not present during the attack, with approximately 2,400 US troops killed and 1,000 wounded. President Franklin D. Roosevelt calls it a date which will live in infamy, and the next day in the U.S. officially enters the World War II, declaring war on Japan. Second Battle of Kharkov, May 12 to 28, 1942. In a counter-offensive of the Germany attack on Moscow, the Soviet Red Army attacks on Kharkov, Ukraine, with the aid of 1,500 tanks and 1,000 aircrafts in the crafts, but the Germans' intelligent facing alerts the Axis on the campaign, facing nearly 300,000 casualties and gaining little traction. The Soviets are forced to Now, the Battle of Galgular Campaign, August 7, 1942 to February 9, 1943. Weeks after Japan begins building a tragic airfield at Guadalcanal, part of Solomon Islands at the Solomon Islands at the part of South Pacific Ocean. US forces launch a surprise attack, taking control over the airfield, forcing Japan into the initial retreat, but with the reinforcement arriving hand to hand, 31,000 casualties and the loss of 38 ships, and the Allies of lose 29 ships and 7,100 soldiers. Finally, the Battle of Berlin, April 16 to May 2, 1945. Soviet forces, and with support of American and British aircraft, launched an offensive against the British German capital of yeah, that's all I could say. I couldn't say more. My mouth is actually paining, so yeah.